Hi, and welcome to High Definition Relationship, where we help you to connect the dots. I'm Pastor Tony. You know, we've been using this year as a theme or whatever you want to call it. We've been looking at this era of change, and that change is inevitable. And what I want to talk to you seriously about here with high definition relationship is that we can have relationships in where we really struggle. And when we struggle, this is what I want to say mainly. A lot of times we look at forgiveness as a weakness, but forgiveness is not a weakness. Resentment is a weakness. Because the times I've been disappointed, the times I've been hurt, or I heard somebody say something about me and I didn't get a chance to defend myself, or something that somebody did to me on the job, things in that area that brought resentment into my heart. When I stayed in resentment, see, when you don't work through it, that's a sign of weakness. You have to work through the fact that there are things that someone has done unto you that maybe you didn't deserve, but that's what happened to Christ, okay? This happened to people every day. And then I have to come to the resolution that I can't say that I'm 100% innocent in the situation where I was offended or I got hurt and it caused resentment. No, I can't say there's something. I have to take some implication, some responsibility in it, okay? Even if it's just as small as letting a person into my life. But yes, the weakness is in resentment because it shows that you don't have the strength to resolve the resentment. You don't have the strength to allow the family to see you go through a difficulty and resentment and see you work through it and come out on the other end. So it actually becomes a weakness. It actually becomes an area that you don't even allow God to get into. It's the area that you only allow somebody to come in it when you can show that you were in the good, you were 100 and that person was wrong, or that group or the company that or the supervisor was wrong. And listen, when this takes place and you're not resolving this, you're not working through it, then that's when you can see that your resentment has become a weakness in your life. It has become a weakness. That's why it's so important to understand that change is inevitable and that we must get to a place to where we don't resent change. We don't become averse to change because change is always taking place. I remember when my father passed away, man, I was really hurt. Me and him were close. And on that day I was walking like I was in slow motion, didn't know what to do. And I turned on the TV and life was going on as usual. People were cheating, lying, stealing. People were saying this is the best day of their life. Life moved on, even though I didn't want to move on, even though I had not processed through the hurt yet. It's the same thing with resentment. When you don't process through it, you miss out on a whole lot as you go through life. You think you're sharp, okay, but you're missing out on a whole lot. That's why it's good to understand that any type of offense or hurt, if you don't immediately invite God in and allow him to process and help you to navigate through this deep hurt, then what happens? That becomes an area of offense. And that offense can turn into resentment if you do not allow the light of the Holy Spirit to enter in. And that can take place in relationships all the time. So don't think that just because somebody forgive you, that's a weakness. No, they're releasing themselves so they can move on with life. They're trying to process through it, okay? And they still got a lot of other steps to go through. But when you're in resentment and you hold on to it and you say you got a right to be resentful and you got a right to stay hurt, that's your weakness. And that's a tough lesson that I had to learn. And it didn't take me overnight to learn. This didn't take a couple of months. It took me a couple of years to learn that you have got to process through this. You've got to move on. And when you see that person again, you got to speak to them, okay? You still got, listen, you still have to reach out, speak, and just at least say hello. That's part of processing through resentment. So once again, I just thought maybe you needed to know that forgiveness is not the weakness. Resentment is.